Hello. Today, I'm going to try and do some commentary on a respray of this immaculate Honda Civic. I'm going to try not to bore you to death. Please tell me in the comments if I should just keep my mouth shut next time, because I'm not very good at speaking, as you may have noticed from some past videos if you watch them. But yeah, let me know, please. So let's get into it, shall we? So basically this car is just in for a refresh on life. It was faded and well used daily driver. So clear peel, a few dents here and there, but you know, just freshen up and make it look pretty. It's not going to win any car shows anytime soon, but it's just to freshen it up. So these bars, raw plastic. I'm not sure what they are, ABS, but they look like they just came out of a mold, or they've just been 3D printed. Either way, not these yellow ones though. Obviously the front bar, the wing, the skirts, and the eyelids are all sort of raw plastic. These rear bars, or bar and lip extension, I think are genuine and just already painted, so no special needs required there. However, on the front bar and the other raw plastics, I didn't really feel the need to prime them, so how I prepped those was wet sanding with 600 grit, and then grey scuff pad with scuff paste. So essentially a scuff pad is, a grey one is about 600 anyway, but the scuff paste just makes sure that I didn't miss any bits with the wet sanding. And then a quick spray of U-Pol's Grip 4 adhesion promoter, which is basically like a plastic primer sort of thing. Gets the panel ready for a coat of paint for 2K to stick to. And then yeah, business as usual. Same thing with the skirts, exactly the same preparations, except there was a bit of chaos. So as you can see, I'm trying to blow off water. So 2 hours before I went to spray this car, I masked this car up, ready to spray, and then it started raining. And it turns out that these spray booths do not hold water, they're not waterproof. So all the water came straight through and soaked everything. That's where you can see the floor is a bit wet. It wasn't a fun time. Spent about 2 hours trying to get all the water and moisture out of the booth, ready to spray. And yeah, it just was chaos. Not a fun time. I would not advise anyone to go through that. Anyway, bit windy as well. So yeah, this wing is again adhesion promoted. The center is actually going black, but I'm just putting a bit of white on there just to act as like another adhesion layer, I suppose, before I rub the center back down and spray it black. But as you can see there's some water leaking from the ceiling onto the skirts. So best to leave these things dry and come back to them later. Many a times I've panicked and tried to fix them straight away, but that just makes things worse. So I've learnt to relax, step back a bit, and let it dry. Even though it's 2K and it won't dry fully for a few hours, just come back to it later. It gives you time to think about things, and yeah, just gives you general time to get it fixed, I suppose. I don't know if that makes sense. I don't know what I'm trying to say here. Anyway, so painting the roof as you can see, I'm going very slow. Also, I've wound my fan in quite a bit. It's like half of a fan right now. This is only because I'm about the size of Lord Farquaad with a gun, and I can't really reach the center of the roof very well. So I wind the fan in to get to be able to get enough paint into the middle without having to, I don't know, get a step ladder like a normal person would. But that's too smart. So then I'm actually using the pillars as like a blend section. So spraying the whole car takes a long time. I think it took about half an hour to get a coat on fully. So I'm using the pillars as like a blending area once I do the quarters, and then I can blend up the pillars. And what I mean is, like, if you don't maintain your wet edge, you sometimes can get a dry patch, and it's much better to buff out a dry patch on a pillar than what it is to buff out a dry patch on a whole door or guard or whatever. So that's a handy tip, I suppose. Keeping the door handles on, just trying to shoot in from the top and the bottom, trying to get the paint in there. Once again, on the boot, going nice and slow across. A few bits of crap on there, blow it off and hit it with some paint. So yeah, obviously the roof boot and bonnet was clear peeled quite badly, so it was sanded down with 80 grit on an orbital, and then 2K there was some rust as well that needed to be fixed. That was etched, 2K primed, let that cure for about a week so it can shrink back into its final state, I suppose. And then wet sand with 400, and then basically the scuff paste. Well, I wet sanded the whole car and then scuff pasted the whole car again, just like I did with the bars. However, the car didn't need adhesion promoter because it's decent enough to spray 2K straight on the keyed paint that's there. The mirrors, they just left them on, just trying to shoot the paint in there. Can shoot it at the glass to get sort of the reflective paint pattern, sort of like a shooting a pool ball in from the other side of the bloody table, if that makes any sense. I don't know, you figure it out. And then yeah, as you can see, I'm painting from the middle of the panels to the middle of the panels. This is to avoid picture framing, which is like a build up on the edges of the panels, which can sometimes look really, really bad. So just trying to avoid that by doing middle of panel to middle of panel. And then obviously some crap was on the bonnet, or landed on the bonnet, so quick tack rag off, and then hit it with some paint. Some people like to do middle of bonnet outwards. I like to go from one side to the other and nice and slow, just to keep that wet edge, is why I go from one side to the other. But everyone has their own preferences, I suppose. And I run out of paint there, but go get some more quickly, and then yeah, finish the bonnet off. And it looks alright. So that's one coat down, and then come back to the skirts. So by that time the skirts had sort of dried off. See, I'm tacking onto the white paint. It's not pulling off at all. It's dry enough. So then blow off the excess water that's still on there, and then sand it with some paint. I think the adhesion promoter actually helped a lot in this case. Probably forming a barrier between the raw plastic and the water helped it not be able to bond properly, I suppose, or soak into the plastic like it probably usually would. And yeah, that concludes the first coat, and then I don't want to bore you with another 2 coats, but that's what it looked like after 3 coats. And the reason I did 3 coats is because it rained. I was expecting it to dull off a bit, which it did. So, and what I mean by that is all of the glossiness sort of dulled off a little bit, and I just fixed that with a quick going over with a buff, a cutting compound and a polish, and it was good to go. Like, once again, it's not a show car, it's just a clean daily driver. So that concludes the commentary for this video. Please do let me know if I need to be quiet next time, even if you stayed around because I was talking. I don't know, maybe you like the sound of my voice. Let me know. But yeah, turned out alright. Thank you for watching. This is a lot of fun and I like doing it, so I'll probably do some more videos like this soon. Have a good day.